I want to go see what White Chaos uploaded today. Let's go click on his channel. Let's go see. Whoa, what is that? Is that new channel art? Is that new banner? Is that new logo? What is this? Is that a new thumbnail? Wow, White Chaos is a ripoff of Tuxbird. Look, they look almost identical. As you can see, the space in between the two names, Tux, and then his penguin and then bird. And then you go over to White Chaos. It's got White, his new hunter logo, which looks pretty cool. And then Chaos, complete carbon copy of Tuxbird. Well, that's because Tuxbird actually made my channel art. Pretty cool stuff. Really grateful that he did this. It's really cool. So I don't know if you guys have actually noticed, but actually for the past like maybe 2 years, I've actually had a Destiny channel art, which I'll just flash on the screen if you guys don't actually know yet. You guys should know. I just actually got this new channel art, the new thumbnail, practically the rebranding. I just got all that within the last few days, so this may be new for some of you guys. Some of you guys have already seen some of this, but for the most part, you guys are probably used to that old disgusting WC with the little Zur in the background, the red picture, and the red, just the red everything on my channel. And also, those thumbnails that I used to make, those green ones, yeah, they were alright. But here's a new one, new and improved. It stands out, pops out a little bit more, which is pretty cool. And Tuxbird made all that for me, and I just wanted to thank him for that. So, pretty awesome stuff. Tuxbird made my channel great again, and that's all I could really say about it. So, thanks, Tuxbird. You saved my channel. You saved my livelihood. Thank you so much. Oh, and I guess I also have some gameplay footage for you guys. Oh, that's why you clicked on the video? Oh, okay, you guys didn't care about my rebranding. Okay, cool. I'm just gonna go sit over here. You guys enjoy the video. Thanks for watching. Hey, what's going on, guys? It's White Chaos, so welcome back to another Division video. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that little skit right there in the beginning of the video. I thought it was pretty funny. I don't know, if you guys thought differently, then I guess let me know so I could work on it a little bit more. I want to start doing stuff a little bit more like that on the channel. So, you know, just bring up the fun level from 2 up to maybe like a solid 4. So that's what I'm trying to do here. But so let's get on to the video itself. This is the PTS 3 main changes. It's not exactly patch notes, so I'll just read off this disclaimer right here. From the official forum, this is a short overview of the coming changes for PTS 3. These are not patch notes, so smaller changes are not listed here. The goal is to provide a preview of what is being addressed. So this isn't every single patch note, but I guess the major stuff that we should definitely be hoping to see from patch week 2 over to 3, because there were a lot of broken things in Last Stand and etc. And seems like they're going to be fixing a lot of that here. So let's go over it all. I guess we might as well do that. It's fairly short, so it probably won't be a very long video. So I might as well just go over all of them. Read them all off to you guys. If you guys want to find this article yourself, it'll be linked down in the description below if you guys want to read along with me or just read it on your own. I realize now that I've been talking too much, so let's start going over it. Agents. PTS 3 is in the works and will be deployed in the days to come. A complete patch notes will be published when all changes are made, but until then, we thought it would be interesting to share some of the learnings from PTS 2 with you. Number 1, reloading while sprinting. We did an experiment on PTS 2 with slowing the player to a run if he reloads while sprinting and interrupting reloads if he starts sprinting. The purpose was to make sure that there was a rhythm to combat where the player has to consider that he will be more vulnerable as sprinting makes the player harder to hit. This was meant to encourage cover use and longer range combat. What we saw though was that it created too big of a chance to the feel of the game that players have grown accustomed to, especially in PvE. It also needed some more work to feel smooth and well supported in all cases. To that effect, we will remove the restrictions for the next PTS phase and you can again reload while sprinting. Let's go over number 2, which is normalization issues. Our very first attempt at normalization was largely successful in creating a more balanced and equal PvP situation in the Last Stand game mode, reducing the impact of min-maxed gear while achieving the time to kill and time to be killed that we were looking for. However, some changes will be made to the method for the next phase of testing. As the major bonuses on gear have been adjusted, we now feel more comfortable letting them have an impact on the Last Stand game mode, and so will not be scaling them down as aggressively as before. We also have adjusted how we normalize armor and mitigation to even out the damage effectiveness of guns versus skills. Generally speaking, guns did the right amount of damage, but the skills did a little too much on PTS 2 Last Stand. We look forward to feedback on these changes in the next phases of the PTS. Now on to number 3, which is the skill power meta. This is a long one, so sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, and let's listen to White Chaos in his beautiful voice talk about all these cool types of changes. We saw the pendulum shift very quickly to builds focusing on electronics and skill power being the dominating ones on PTS2. This was a result of a revamp on how skill power scales, where we removed the diminishing returns and made investing heavily into the niche pay off. We are happy to see that skill power builds come back to life, but our goal is to have a large amount of different builds and playstyles viable, so we will be making adjustments accordingly. 3A, cooldowns and power of skills. To make sure that other types of builds are more viable again, we're making cooldowns at low skill power a little shorter than they were on PTS2, allowing DPS, balanced, and tank builds more frequent access to their tools. We've also made it so that skill power does not lower cooldowns as much as it did, meaning that we don't reach quite as short cooldowns at high skill power levels as we did on the PTS2. We also made adjustments to the haste to rein in what was possible to achieve in terms of very fast cooldowns. More details to come in the patch notes, but we look forward to seeing how these adjustments feel to players on the next phase of the PTS. 3B, support station range and overlap. Support station became quite strong with the new skill power and gained a lot of utility with the revamp to Reclaimer. On PTS2 we tried a different range setting for it, however it turned out to be so small that it frustrated solo players relying on the support station, restricting them too much in their movement. To that effect, we're increasing the base range and adjusting the bonus of Reclaimer down a little instead, to reduce the difference between the two versions. Furthermore, to make sure that we don't get super groups stacking multiple support stations for very large healing efficiency, we're adding a system to prevent overlapping stations to all heal the same player. Now on to 3C, countering skill objects. We observed that some skill objects such as support stations, seeker mines, and turrets were too difficult to counter. We are making sure they are more vulnerable to elemental damage such as explosions and fire. It doesn't mean they will become super squishy, just that they react more predictably to those effects. As requested by many, we're also making the Disruptor Sticky Bomb detonate on impact to be easier to hit skill objects such as Seeker Mines with. Now onto the big one on the list, 3D, the Seeker Mines. The cluster variety of Seeker Mine was seen a lot on PTS2. We believe that a fair trade-off for getting multiple Seeker Mines on the cluster variety is that they do not stagger the enemy like the base one does. Therefore, we are removing that effect from the cluster only. They also will receive a change with cooldown increase and a shift of their damage, where parts of the damage they deal will be moved from the initial explosion to the bleed effect afterwards. Now onto 3E, turrets. Similarly to Seeker Mines, the turret could become a tad bit too powerful with high skill power builds, to the point where it would be almost invulnerable in PvP. We will make a few adjustments by reducing its range and health, but preserve the damage output, to make sure it keeps its role as a side damage companion when used with proper positioning, rather than a long-range damage beast. Alright, so now on to a big one, bigger than the Seeker Balls. Number 4, exotic weapon changes, and particularly the Historian. So let's check this out. The Historian was meant to allow a new type of playstyle based on skill power. It was an experiment testing the boundaries of what the pros and cons of certain builds should be. What we observed though was that it was completely removing challenge of skill builds, giving them a great weapon to use while having to invest nothing into other stats than their skill power focused ones. The Historian is now changed to be a weapon centered around the firearm stat, a place where damage scaling with your build investment feels more natural. Now onto a weapon that I honestly didn't even think people were using in the PTS, the Caduceus. The Caduceus was meant to create a low-grade sustained healing roll, useful for situations where you have constant low-grade damage. A few adjustments will be made to make sure it fills that role and isn't being abused. It will receive a cooldown on how often it can hit each player to prevent a group of stack multiples users of Caduceus creating too much healing per second. Secondly, it was being used predominantly to sustain by almost every type of build, making it dangerously close to a must pick. Something we want to avoid to that effect. The healing amount now scales with skill power, putting this weapon in the support player niche. Dang, I don't even know how to pronounce that. Now on to number 5, survivability. 5A, added base health. On PTS2, we revamped how health worked. There are answers on our health fact on why health changes explained, while the reduced health amounts on major bonuses were good for build diversity. We feel we should go a little higher with the base health a player has in the end game, and have increased that by around 37%. 5B, the medkits. Medkits gained utility already on PTS1 in that they can already cleanse status effects. On the other hand, they also lost a little utility since they could no longer overheal. This was done to equalize the strength of PvP encounters and address situations where the user sustained through PvE encounters using med packs without having to think about cover or tactics. We do want to try out reducing the cooldown on medkits again, since we suspect that the changes even out themselves and do perhaps not require a longer cooldown after that. Now on to number 6, the Seeker gear set. After trying out 2 versions of the gear set and evaluating players' feedback, as well as statistics, we have decided not to release the Seeker gear set in its current form. Its effect wasn't unique enough, its use clear enough for players, and it wasn't quite fun enough to play with. It will be removed from the game with PTS 3. Now on to number 7, the Legendary missions. While Legendary mode was a bit less in the spotlight during the PTS phase, we did receive a lot of great feedback on it. One of the main concerns, however, was that it was often deemed as too punishing due to the lack of checkpoints. Especially for a group dying in the last encounter, there will now be 1 checkpoint in each Legendary mission. However, in order to preserve some level of punishing aspect of late wiping, the checkpoint is added approximately halfway through the mission. So I guess that's a pretty good way to utilize a checkpoint. A thing that I would like to see though is maintain that checkpoint, add that checkpoint in the middle of the mission, but you'd only be able to use it 1 to 3 times. You know, you'd be limited on how many times you can actually utilize that checkpoint. So if you do end up dying way too many times, then it does eventually kick you out of the mission, which I think that would be a cool addition to the game, make it challenging, but not as challenging as it currently is. So I think that'll be pretty cool. Expect the complete patch notes tomorrow. Thank you, agents, the Division dev team. So I don't know if I'm going to specifically go over the entire patch notes on PTS 3. I actually will probably most likely link the complete patch notes in this video itself, mainly because these are a lot of the big changes right here that they wanted to focus it around, and tomorrow's patch notes, it'll include a lot of small stuff that really isn't, I don't think, worth to go over all this stuff again, as well as the small stuff in a separate video. So if you guys are reading this on February 2nd or after, then you will definitely find those patch notes down there for the actual complete patch notes for PTS 3. 1.6 PTS Week 2 was very, very fun until people discovered that skill build meta. Now what I'm reading right here, it seems like it's going to be fixed, and Last Stand will be even more fun than before, simply because you won't be running into people with skill builds as well as historian builds surrounding those skill builds. The dynamic duo of 1.6 PTS Week 2. So I guess that's all I really have for this video. If you guys enjoyed it and want to see more like it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more almost daily Division content, and also drop a like on the video if you liked it. Did I just say that? I don't even know. I'm so tired right now, I don't know what I'm saying anymore. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I guess I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out, guys.